So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create beautiful sunsets with one light off camera and show you how I transformed this scene into this. So hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see more of my images, you could always find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. So once again, I am taking you behind the scenes in one of my engagement shoots and show you one particular layout in which I actually transformed an otherwise mundane scene into something that I may consider to be a beautiful sunset photo. So here goes. So this is the scene as I was faced with. You could see that there are no details in the sky, and this is a properly exposed image. This was the pose that I wanted to do. However, there is a technique for me to be able to bring out the cloud details here and still expose for them properly, and that is using off-camera flash photography, or basically just off-camera flash. So the flash that I used was this one. This is the Photix Indra 500. This is a 500 watt studio strobe that is actually battery powered. The beautiful thing about this flash unit is that they can do TTL and high-speed sync also, but in this particular scene I stayed within my flash sync speed, which I will explain later. But the nice thing about it, since it is battery powered, I am able to take it on location and shoot in this particular case. This was actually a sandbar that we had to travel to via a small boat to get there, and there was really no power outlets there, so a battery operated flash really helps. So another thing that's really nice about this flash is that it has a Bowens mount. What is a Bowens mount? Basically, it is the most widely used mount for lighting modifiers. So you could use a bunch of octabox, beauty dishes, softbox, strip lights, everything will work with this particular light. And I triggered it using this one. This is the Photix Odin light. Oh, by the way, the camera that I used to shoot the final image was my Sony a7R Mark II in a 16-35 f4 lens. But aside from all those modifiers that I actually just mentioned, the lighting modifier that I actually decided to use was just this one. This is a standard reflector. In other words, when you attach it here on top of your flash, it just directs your light. But I also attached a grid in front to direct my light even further. In other words, control the direction and spill of my light. Now let me show you how I actually used it. Oh, by the way, this behind the scenes, you could see I did some test shots without the grid, but my issue was those test shots, the light was just all over the place and it didn't give me the direction of light that I wanted. But I had my assistant stay here, but I had him position the light here to simulate the sunset right here. So what I am doing is really covering up a sunset that's supposed to be here and use my light to simulate the light coming from the sun. And since I was shooting with a 16-35, let me show you now. This was the actual final straight out of the cam photo. In other words, no editing has been done yet. You could see that there is no sun here because the sunset was really here. But since it was such a cloudy day, there wasn't really a nice burst of light that came out from this sunset, or it was a very hazy day. Well, of course, clouds make a sunset beautiful, but in this case, it was so hazy by the horizon line that it didn't really give justice to the image. So I then purposely put the light here so that it simulates like a sunset peeking through this haze. And as you can see, one of the reasons why I shot this low was so that I could get my subject in the middle. I shot it this way so that I can control the distortion that's coming from my lens. Now, as I said earlier, I shot this with a 16-35 lens at 16 mm. In other words, this portion here would definitely distort, but it also, I really do like distorting clouds because it gives me that more grand effect. But if I put my subjects right here or right here or right here, they will then be prone to distortion, and by putting them center of the frame, that is where you have the least amount of distortion. Therefore, you could see that they are proper when it comes to their proportions. And this is the final processed image. I just adjusted my white balance and made it warmer, since you could see here from the SOOC photo, or straight out of the camera photo, the general tone or the general color of the entire scene was not warm. It was very bland. It was like basically about 5600 Kelvin, which is the same color temperature of this light. Therefore, I didn't need to gel this anymore, and I was able to shift my white balance to make it warmer and not really affect anything and make it look unnatural. So it looked very natural, as if we had an amazing sunset. Then you could see the light peeping here, making it look like the sun, and you've got a little bit of light streak here. Also, I straightened out my horizon and removed some distortion in terms of the horizon, and removed a few things here that were a bit of a distraction. So that's how simple it was. It's basically just creating something out of nothing with the help of my off-camera flash. Oh, by the way, in case you guys were wondering, my settings were f13, 1/250, ISO 100, and this entire scene was underexposed by about 2 stops. Why did I do that? Because this is the proper exposure of the scene. You could see that we lost a lot of highlights detail. By underexposing the scene, we are now able to bring back the details of the highlights here in the sky, but we ended up putting them in shadow, which we were able to bring out a little in post, but at the same time, we created those nice highlights using the flash here, simulating that of a really nice sunset. And I shot it at a shutter speed of 1/250 because I wanted to keep it within my flash sync speed. The flash sync speed of my camera was 1/250, and I was able to get the most out of my flash. You guys might be wondering what the power of my flash was. At this particular case, I think I was about at 1/4 or 1/8 power, so I had more power to give. This flash had more power to give, which now would answer the question of whether or not you could use a weaker strobe and not use a 500-watt light. I think you can actually even get away with a speed light for this particular image that I actually showed you, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do consider subscribing to the channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider liking the video also, and if you want to learn more, I actually do hold one-on-one online workshops, the details of which I will put in the description below. And if you want to see more of my images, you could always find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. Okay, till the next video.